welcome to ILTV's Evening Update. I'm Aaron Porras here with the latest news from Israel.
Just hours ago, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Finance Minister Moshe Kahlon came to an agreement regarding the future of the publicly funded Israel Broadcasting Authority. According to the deal, a new broadcasting company will be launched called Kan, but will lose its new division. Instead, a separate entity will be established to serve as a state-funded news service. The disagreement between Netanyahu and Kahlon had become so heated that at one point, the finance minister threatened to leave the coalition, potentially triggering an early election. The disagreement began when Netanyahu backtracked on a plan to close the IBA and replace it with a new public broadcasting corporation, Kan. Though Netanyahu had claimed that he opposed closing down the IBA in order to save jobs, many have speculated that his motivations were political, since the IBA hired veteran news anchor Geula Even. Even is married to Gideon Sa'ar, a former Interior and Education Minister who resigned from Likud in 2014, but is expected to make a political comeback, and is considered by many political insiders a viable candidate against Netanyahu in the Likud primaries. A spokesman for Kan told the Times of Israel that as of yet they have not been informed of any of the details of the deal, though some employees have said they already plan to protest the move at the demonstration this week in Tel Aviv. In the latest development surrounding the Israeli-American 19-year-old suspected of making hundreds of bomb threats against Jewish community centers across North America, Israeli courts have extended the teen's remand for a week. The suspect, a resident of Ashkelon whose name is still under gag order, was arrested last Thursday. His father was arrested as well on suspicion that he knew what his son was doing. He was later released to house arrest. In defense of his actions, the teen's lawyer, Galit Besh, has already stated that her client suffers from a brain tumor that causes inexplicable behavioral issues. Upon his arrest, which was coordinated between Israeli forces and the FBI, police found all the high-tech gear necessary to conceal his identity and voice, which was allegedly used in the series of threats. Though the motives for his actions are still unknown, the United States Attorney General has described the bomb threats as hate crimes, and has since vowed that, quote, "The Department of Justice is committed to protecting the civil rights of all Americans, and we will not tolerate the targeting of any community in this country on the basis of their religious beliefs," end quote. The British Jewish community is outraged over the comments of Baroness Warsi. In an interview with the Middle East Eye, Warsi said she believes that any Briton who fights for a foreign military should be prosecuted upon their return to the UK. The Baroness was quoted as saying that, quote, "If you go out there and fight for any group, you will be subject to prosecution when you get back. If you go out and fight for Assad, I presume under our law that is okay. That cannot be right," end quote. However, she went on to single out British citizens who volunteer for the IDF, saying there exists a loophole designed to protect Israel, and that the same rules should apply to all. Lord Stuart Pollack, honorary president of the Conservative Friends of Israel, disagreed, saying that, quote, "To equate the actions of the Israel Defense Force and non-state actors that can include vile terror groups such as Islamic State is misguided. This blasé attitude is both careless and shows a total lack of understanding of the only true democracy in the Middle East," end quote. In the past, Warsi served as chairman of the Conservative Party and as senior minister of state for foreign and Commonwealth affairs, under former Prime Minister David Cameron. She resigned in protest to the government's position in regards to the 2014 Israeli war in Gaza. Today, Palestinian protesters clashed with Israeli soldiers while commemorating the 41st anniversary of what they refer to as Land Day. Many of the protests took place at the outskirts of the Palestinian city of Nablus, where protesters waved Palestinian flags and drove tractors through fields. Others threw rocks at Israeli security forces, who in turn fired tear gas canisters and arrested a handful of violent demonstrators. In the Hamas-controlled Gaza Strip, there were demonstrations near the border with Israel, while others displayed works of art depicting Israeli settlements, which many Palestinians consider to be located on land that will serve as a future state. Land Day is the Palestinian commemoration of the killing of 6 Arab Israeli citizens by the Jewish state during the 1976 riots over the governmental confiscation of land in northern Israel. The Christian charity organization World Vision has been absolved of any wrongdoing by the Australian government today, but new reports are showing that the charity's funds will remain frozen until Israel's charges against World Vision's manager of the global aid agency in the Gaza branch is resolved. Mohammed El-Halabi is accused by the Israeli government of transferring funds meant to go to the Christian charity to the Hamas terror organization that rules over the Gaza Strip. The Shin Bet Security Services allege that El-Halabi created fake projects in the Strip in order to funnel roughly $50 million to the coastal terror group to help purchase weapons and build tunnels. The Shin Bet goes further still, saying Halabi was planted by Hamas into World Vision for exactly the aforementioned purpose. Halabi has pled not guilty to all charges, though he will remain on suspension pending the outcome of an audit. In a statement released by the World Vision organization, the charity wrote that, quote, "We remain deeply concerned with this situation and are saddened by the impact on Gaza's children and their families."
That's all for now. Stay tuned on ILTV.tv for our main daily broadcast playing after this. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you next time with our morning briefing from Israel at 8 a.m. Eastern Time.